G'day, political analysts. What a farce we have down there in Tasmania. Like Andrew Bolt said, luckily none of us really take much notice of what's going on in Tasmania, and I think it looks like a nice place to live, actually. Very pretty countryside and small population, heaps of nice natural wonders, you know. I've had friends tell me they lived in a little cottage on the west coast there, and they could go and catch crayfish and straight out of the ocean pretty easily and stuff like that. The fishing and hunting's great. Anyway, I didn't really understand what a no confidence motion is, and I'm still wondering what it is really. Like, first off, the people are supposedly voted this Liberal Party in, and then all of a sudden the Parliament can decide otherwise. In Queensland, we don't have an upper and a lower house. Not that I know anything really about politics, and it makes me want to throw up just to think about studying the shit that people do in university. But at least, so that's real bad in Queensland if they want to, put in draconian laws against you, freedom of association laws and things like that, or non-freedom of association laws. But it's real good if you don't want instability, if you don't want, this sort of crap to happen. But anyway, so somehow a bunch of these people in this parliament have decided they don't like the leader of the Liberal Party, and that they can, force an election to be called or change the leader. I didn't really think it was any of their fucking business, actually. But what do I know? Now, getting on to why, I was trying to find out why. We've got the football stadium thing, we've got the ferry, and the debt. Okay? So, what a crazy old topsy-turvy world we have. Because, like the Labor leader said, Dean someone I think, there was $1 billion debt when they lost office and the Liberals took over, and now they're up to $11 billion or something. And that's fair enough, eh? That's fair comment. So, you'd think that it would be the other way around. Traditionally, it would be like the Liberals would be saying, we've no confidence in you because you're running the debt up to the max. None of these people understand that we have a debt-based currency system. So without more and more debt, it can't continue. And it won't continue eventually anyway. When you get to the point where you can't extract enough out of the taxpayers to pay the interest bill, you're going to be fucked, aren't you? And that's where they're heading. And the Labor Party's right on that. They're dead right on that. So, there's a damn good point, Labor Party. If I was voted in Premier tomorrow, we'd be, money would be whatever the market decided. And I'd probably hold taxes where they were for about a year or two or whatever it needed to and pay down the debt. And then I'd just totally get rid of the legal tender laws. So we've got that. We've got the debt. Fair enough, the debt is out of control. Now, the ferry. All of these are examples of government interference in the market that causes this shit to happen. None of these people should have any say in these things. So the ferry, first it was going to be done by a German company and went broke or whatever it was, But, notice how the people in the parliament aren't actually building the ferry. They're not. And they're not financing it either. They're taking the money from other people that are stupidly giving it over, like all of us do, to the taxation department to supply this ferry. Now, and it's gone to a different company, and then they've built a ferry that's too big to berth there, so now they need to build a berth, and the cost blowouts are unbelievable. And why? It's because it's being run by the government. They have to get private sector to build these things, but when they're in control of the decisions, when they're making the decisions, they cannot make the right decision. If they make the right decision, they make it by a fluke, because pretty much none of them have ever been in the private sector. And if they have, well, they've disgrace themselves by joining these fucking arseholes. Really. So I don't know why we let them get away with it, but these people are making the decisions, and they're causing it's like, oh, we need the government to build the roads. No, you don't. The government doesn't fucking build the roads. The government, collects the taxpayers' dollars and wastes them and borrows more and wastes it on bureaucratic bungling, while a real man actually builds the road. But then you get a favour. So we're gonna hand out the contract. We're in control of it. Why are they in control of it? They can't make the right decision. They never possibly could. These poor people in Australia think that they own the road because they pay taxes and regos and licenses. And they get upset when, there's road workers there and they've cut a lane off and they're holding people up. They're like, hey, fucking, this is my road. And then your traffic controller, your average traffic controller or contractor that's building the road, I've worked in the industry, I've heard them say that, these people think they own the road, talking about the public. And yes, the public thinks they own the road, but they don't. It's owned by the state. The poor public doesn't understand that it doesn't own the road. It thinks it's owned the road because they're all fucking socialists. But then they find out in reality that they don't, that they can be told what to do by the state. Getting back to the ferries, why not just go, hey, we need a ferry. We won't stand in your way. We'll issue any fucking licenses you need, whatever you need. Let a company come in here with a ferry that's already built and build themselves a dock, do whatever they need to do. We're not going to get in the way. Let 10 companies come in here and compete. Let 10 companies build 10 docks. And let the free market and competition flow. This is not something that the government should be funding. Well, nothing is what the government should be funding. But, there's your solution. People that want to use the ferry, pay private companies that are competing for your business. There'd be no cost blowouts, no taxpayer on the hook, no $11 billion debt. Just get the fuck out of the way and let free enterprise enter the market properly. When these people on ABC talk this dangerous word privatisation, we don't have privatisation. It's not private. Privatisation means, in Australia, the government still has the monopoly. It still has all the rules and regulations that control everything. And they pick one company and say, you've just won the lotto. You can supply the services. And the company goes, no problem. We'll gouge you as hard as we can because there's no competition. That's what privatisation, that's how it goes in Australia. And people go, it's horrible, it puts the price up. Yeah, because it's not free market. It's government controlled. It's a government controlled monopoly. Instead of them being directly paid by the government, the people that drive the boats, it's a private company because man, if you let your average fucking lazy ass fucking 4 days a week, left wing, purple haired fuckwit that works in the government drive a boat, they'd crash it. So you got to have a private company to do it, but let's open it up and have lots of private companies competing. That's simple, that one. Same with this stupid stadium bullshit. Tell the AFL to get fucked. What is it if the government's business, whether there's an AFL in the state or not? It's none of their fucking business. It's nobody's business. How many people go to the football? Let's say 50,000, 100,000 in Melbourne, or 50,000 on the weekend. Maybe quite a few more are interested in it in Tasmania, but there's a whole lot of Tasmanians out there that couldn't give a fuck about the AFL. And why should they have to pay for it? Same thing again. The government should have nothing to do with what goes on in sport. If all they would, if I was the Tasmanian Premier, I'd just go, yep, no worries. You want to build a stadium? That's fine. None of our business. You find a fucking chunk of land and you build yourself a stadium. That's all good. All you people that want to go to the football on the weekends and want to have something to do with it, but don't ask the basketball players to pay for it. Don't ask the rugby players to pay for it. Don't ask the dock workers and the people that work in Woolworths to pay for it. If they don't fucking not interested in football, why should they have to pay for it? So just tell these people that want the stadium, no worries. Find yourself a piece of dirt. We're gonna give you all the permits you need. Go ahead, build whatever you want. But it's none of our business. We're not funding it, and nor should the taxpayer fund it. This is how you get $11 billion in debt. It's just that AFL is nothing to do with the government, and the government should have nothing to do with the AFL. If the people want AFL, some guy can come along with $700 million and build himself a stadium. Probably do it for $200 million, actually, if it was a private entity. And get the government out of the way. Just, no worries, build your stadium. Start charging for your tickets. But this AFL holding the government to ransom and saying that they must build a new stadium when there's already a couple there anyway, apparently, that they can use. This is a perfect example. Excuse me, trendsetters. It's a perfect example of a total government fuck up from start to finish. These buffoons should not have the power to do anything. They shouldn't be involved in any of this shit. And while we're at it, let's get them out of health. Let's get them out of roads. Let's get them out of education. Let's cut their funding off. And the poor buggers are looking for a 22% pay rise. They haven't had a pay rise since 2018. Yeah, well, how about the rest of us? We're all paying double for petrol than what we did in 2018. That's a 50% pay cut. So they need a 22% pay rise to keep up with inflation that they caused. So they can keep up with it because they're near the mouth of the beast where all the fake digits come flowing out of the Reserve Bank and the Treasury. They want to keep up with it, but bugger you hoi polloi. You're screwed. You're using a currency that's lost half its value against petrol since 2018. Well done. What a great scheme. I think I've said enough today to get myself banned. Have a good one.